What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I know people are fired up because I got Corey Gibbert in the chat firing out pro Lakers takes this early in the morning. That's how I know Team Hold's officially back. Shout out Corey for being here. We're going to get into it, baby. We had an overnight trade that happened. I received, like, no joke, like 72 text messages being like, are you fucking kidding me, kids? Celtics, you ain't like a lot of that energy. We're going to have Weisberg come on and join us. We get a fun one. We're going to get into it. But first and foremost, who we got? We see Jump Shoot in here. Sneeps. We got a Marthan's Joker Rock grieving as a Grizz fan. Borland here. Boston based Tanner Pope. Good morning. Stubbs here. Jared Magnuson. We got Snoopaloop, the common man. Who else? Corey. There he is. There's Corey. Heath Johnson is here. Baston's here. Matic Otto. The Zavala Balla. Let's go. We're going to bring Weisberg in here. Let's break down the trade. Mike, up early on the West Coast. How we doing?
You guys are getting my real world reaction.
Yeah.
Because I'm exhausted. I listened to 50,000 pods last night. My honest reaction is I'm just sad. The Celtics fan in me is really sad today. You know, Marcus meant more to the city. Like, I'm gonna get to the annoying basketball analysis in a second. But, like, I don't think there's been a Celtic in the last decade. You and I both were on Huntington around the same time when Smart got drafted, right? And, you know, there is a level of I don't think anyone's meant more on and off the court as a Celtic. He's going to end up being top 10 in a ton of categories, both during the regular season and playoffs. And by on and off the court, I specifically mean, like, what he meant to the fans. Tatum's clearly the better player. Brown's the better player. But I'm just talking about, like, how the fans actually feel. There's a lot of sadness in Celtics Nation this morning. That said, you know, let's take a step back to where we were 12 hours ago. You know, I was beyond happy they were able to get Brogdon and trade him for Porzingis, because I felt like they were a bunch of, like, fun offensive things they could do, and defensively they're fine. Without Smart defensively, I'm not sure they can do a lot of the same shit. You can't switch as often.
Yeah, first of all, let's just say, in case you're just waking up, like, the deal, Marcus Smart's going to the Grit and Grind gang over in Memphis, Tyus Jones going over to Washington, and the Celtics are getting this year's first-round pick from Memphis, next year's first-round pick that's not top four. I mean, that is top four protected. That's it.
Correct.
And then also Kristaps Porzingis. Just to throw a reaction here right away. Dude, this is a home run. If you told me it was Porzingis for Marcus Smart straight up, I'd be like, yeah, I guess it's a tough deal, but it's a fair deal. That's what I would have said. The fact that they're getting 2 first-round picks, and listen, I appreciate the sentiment there, right? I loved Marcus Smart for a time. It was a lot of fun. It was fun. Speaking of which, we'll do a little giveaway here. Like the stream, subscribe, #Smart. We'll do that, right? Smart. But yes, I get all of that, but I mean, everybody was saying, like, one, that he was slipping defensively this past year, right?
Yep.
That was starting to happen. That he, maybe because of the way that Marcus plays, the way that he throws his body around, he's aging a little bit, that maybe this was, I don't want to say the beginning of the end, because I still think he's going to be a very effective defender, like, moving forward. But we're not getting peak Marcus Smart anymore. Like, that's it. And then, listen, every single podcast, whether it was Bill Simmons, whether it was the Hoop Collective, whether it was No Dunks, talking about how Marcus Smart in that locker room has a stranglehold, for better or worse, as, like, the leader, as the alpha, as the dude who's going to take those big shots. And so if you're telling me you're moving that player, which it seems like they needed to shake things up a little bit, you're moving that player, you're getting back something that immediately fits a bunch of needs that you have. Right. And I know there's a lot of baggage that comes with Porzingis, both off the court, shout out New York 2019, or if it's on the court, where it's like, you know, yes, he played 65 games this past year, averaged 23 and 9, was, like, awesome defensively, stretches the court. But obviously, you know, he has a little Malcolm Brogdon in him where he's going to get hurt at times. But if you were saying both of those guys, like, you're getting what you expect from Marcus Smart, what you're expecting from Porzingis. Porzingis is, like, the guy. Like, you take that deal every time, and getting 2 first-round picks, it's just crazy to me.
So let's break down the basketball part of this. So, like, I understand what Memphis is doing. You replace Dylan Brooks with better Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
Maybe the dynasty starts now in Memphis.
One thing about that too, like just to go back to it, I like that. I think one reason that it's easier to feel better about this deal, if Marcus went to Washington, I would have felt differently. You know what I mean? But Marcus is going to a place where I think like they are going to love him. Like it's this generation's Tony Allen, right? He's going to make that team better. He's an upgrade on Dylan Brooks. He can maybe slap Ja around, and they're going to be like a contending team, not the Wizards, you know?
He's the second oldest guy on that team. He gives them a veteran presence. Maybe he can be a guy who can mentor Ja a little bit, and Jaren Jackson Jr., frankly, just as like a vet who's been around the league. And also, kind of underrated, gives him multiple defensive player of the years between Jaren Jackson Jr. and Marcus Smart. So, like, defensively, they'll be able to do a lot, and you can kind of mix and match some really fun defensive concepts when you get Ja back. You don't have to, like, you can play Smart and Ja together. You're undersized, sure, but you can do some fun things there. I understand, like, Michael Winger is getting crushed today. Yeah. And rightfully so.
Dude, ready for this? So the Wizards have traded their two best players. They've traded Porzingis. They've traded Bradley Beal. Here's what they've gotten back. Chris Paul, 0 first-round picks, a couple of seconds, a couple of pick swaps, a backup point guard in Tyus Jones, who we like, but I don't know.
Second-round pick swaps, not even first round.
Yeah. Landry Shamet and Gallinari. And the crazy thing about Tyus Jones, it's funny. It feels like I think Tyus Jones is better than Monty Morris, but it feels like they ran back the Monty Morris thing, right? Similarly, like last year, the Nuggets picked up, what was it, KCP essentially for Will the Thrill Barton, who's no longer on the Wizards, and Monty Morris, everybody was like, oh yeah, one of the best backup point. Like if he's your backup point guard on a good team, that's great. Now they got two of those. They got Morris and Tyus Jones. And I like Tyus. I think Tyus is like a fantasy god, great point guard. But I mean,
it's funny. I did post in the Discord something from Matt Moore earlier this week, and people were shocked because Moore specifically said one guy or two guys that I look to get potentially moved mentioned Marcus Smart, and he mentioned Tyus Jones.
Yeah.
So good on Matt Moore on that. Here's what I would just say about Washington. I understand them not getting picks and people crushing them for it. If you look at what OKC did, OKC, and I mentioned OKC because Winger's from the OKC system. Their assistant general manager is from OKC. Their thought process is not about getting picks right now necessarily.
Right.
Their thought process is trying to have cap space so that you can launder cap space into draft picks.
Yeah, I look. We do. We still need more people. We need to bring laundering to. We need the Ozark of the NBA, and that's what we have.
Yes,
so
yes.
Winger is Jason Bateman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, Winger's Jason Bateman. I'm not sure who Wendy is, but we can figure that out later. Yeah. So it's that's their thought process. Whether or not that's right, whether or not you can pull off a Paul George level deal in Washington remains to be seen, but that's their thought. Getting back to Boston.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, what's a little different about Washington doing it versus other teams, like because the Thunder did it, right? That was like the Thunder's bread and butter for a while, but the Thunder had built up some goodwill. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like you have less of a runway when you are the Wizards fan. You're like, dude, you made me watch John Wall jump up on the thing after like a second round win that didn't actually get you out of the second round, right? Like you maybe watch Bradley Beal, then you made me watch Kuzma, then you made me watch Denny Avdia, Corey Kispert. Like this is what you give me, and now you decide to do it. And so I get it's a different regime. This is what they have to do to move forward. But man, if I'm a Wizards fan base, it's like, dude, you built up zero goodwill to then run this into the ground for a few more years.
And it's funny with Ted Leonsis, just their owner, who is like in his late 80s, maybe early 90s. Like that guy doesn't have the time for a full rebuild in the way that they want to build this teteam.
He believes in the afterlife, dude. He believes in the afterlife, dude. If you watch it from above.
I mean, look, Winger and company are more likely to be fired depending on what happens here long term, but we'll see. As far as Celtics go, just as an FYI, quick plug, we have a draft show tonight on Playback with Patrick, aka Kim, for those who don't know. And that will be on Team Holt's Playback. So we'll be covering everything. And I believe Mike's going to be at the draft tonight, right?
Yep. Yeah. Heading over there. I think I'm heading over there early tonight. We're going to be shooting a bunch of fun stuff. So Justin Catches is going. My buddy Frimmy's going to be there. So we're going to have Andrew Laird. I think we're going to see the So Rare Dad of God himself, Andrew Laird. So,
damn.
Yeah. Looking forward to tonight.
I'll say this from the Celtics perspective. I agree with your point as far as value. They get incredible value. Porzingis solves a lot of their issues as far as bigs. I don't know what this means as far as Peyton Pritchard. I do think they have another move or two to make here. I don't love the idea of going into the season with White and Brogdon as the point guards because of Brogdon's injury history.
Right.
The Clippers basically shut that deal down because of Brogdon's tendon injury, or it could be something else. We don't even know.
Yeah.
They might have found something, and I haven't seen anything in the reporting that suggests anything different.
We're learning that Ted is 66, dude. He's got a long way to go. He's a long way to go, Weisberg. Weisberg's trying to kill off billionaire owners left and right here. I want to talk a little bit more about this because I heard from a lot of people. Shout out my buddy Frank, who's probably listening to this in podcast form later, and he reached out to me just about like some of the Celtics moves after we thought KP was going for Brogdon. Because I agree, like Porzingis doesn't fix everything. Like there's still room to go, but like I think a lot of people. I'm not saying you're doing this, or I'm not saying Frank was doing this, but that they're like, oh, the Celtics just have to make one move and then it's fixed. And I just don't think like those moves don't exist, right? They're like, we saw the Suns get Bradley Beal, and like, yeah, that's an interesting fit. They got a third banana that's in there, but like clearly they're like, oh yeah, they're defensively, they're fucked. They don't have any depth, all that stuff, right? And yes, I think Porzingis coming fixes a lot of the holes that they had, plugs a lot of the holes that they had, and like, yeah, they still have more room to work. Like they still have to fix other things. But I think a lot of people, when they see a deal like this happen, they're like, well, they're still fucked. They have the backcourt though. The backcourt's still fucked. Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to defend with it? Like, right. They start yelling about stuff right away. And it's like, listen, the Celtics, and I know Stan is getting ready. Stan is like taking a running start, getting ready to dunk from like the free throw line. Be like, yeah, but the Miami Heat went to the finals 2 of the last 4 years. I get it. The Celtics have continued to put themselves in position to make finals runs. And that's the goal. You just want shots on goal. And I think by bringing in Porzingis with the core that they already have extends the window. Whether you like Porzingis or not, whether you think he's really a third best player, like it continues. They are the favorite to come out of the East now. If there was any
plus 460 in Vegas. As of last night, that might have changed this morning. 2 underreported things that will become very reported in the next week or so. You know who Jaylen Brown's best friend on the team is? Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart. Yeah.
Who's Jason Tatum's best friend on the team? Pretty famously.
Marcus Smart.
No, Grant Williams.
Oh, Grant Williams. Okay, I don't know.
So, and with Smart gone and Grant likely gone, I would bet, based on the reporting yesterday, before the Smart deal, it seemed like Grant was definitely gone. There's going to be changes here. And look, Porzingis' track record with leadership, not great. Not a great locker room guy by all accounts. Did well in Washington last year, but wasn't great in Dallas. The end of New York was fucking awful. Like, as a Celtics fan, I'm a little concerned about that locker room because you've traded the best locker room guy they had for, yes, a guy coming off his best season who's a little injury prone, who I think solves a lot of their issues. But it's a real question.
Yeah, I guess I don't give a shit about friendship. I don't know. Be fucking adults. You're at work. I'm friends with so many people that I don't work with. I got plenty of friends, and like in this day and age, you guys can text, you can Skype, you can FaceTime, you can DM. They have plenty of ways to stay in touch. And honestly, if I was a teammate of Marcus Smart, who's my best friend, I probably would love him even more now that he's not going to be taking 9 threes a game and like deciding games. So I don't know. Sorry if I'm not going to feel bad that you lost. Oh, you lost your best friend. He's not going to be the same. There's going to be plenty of other cool guys. Okay. And the Porzingis thing being not like the best guy in the world. I mean, again, shout out 2019. That there's definitely some like real issues there. But listen, it couldn't be Marcus Smart's team anymore. Like that, right. Like you want to talk, everyone's like, oh, Jaylen Brown needs to learn how to dribble. No, what was wrong with this team was they seem to not have that dog in them, if you will, or that the dog that they had in them was not a good dog. And so now this is the opportunity to find who that, like, this is the time for Tatum to step up and be the leader in the locker room, or maybe it's JB, or I don't know, whoever it is. But
well, they're both about to be paid $60 million, so they better be.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just so confused.
Not to play the salary card, but
no. I'm just so confused by the reaction of like everyone was like, let's take Jaylen Brown and ship him to Shanghai, right? That was the reaction after the finals. Now they moved Marcus Smart, who at times we were like, oh, you need to be closing with Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon on the floor. Like, what, we have the fucking memories of Goldfish. Everyone was so mad at Marcus for the whole time. And then they moved Marcus and they're like, oh yeah, but they're friends. What about the friends though? Like, no, come on. This is a move that makes you better immediately.
Yeah, I think at least offensively. They're real defensive questions. And it remains to be seen what's happening with Brogdon. I think that's a real question.
Also, hey, bravo to the Los Angeles Clippers. They waited 5 years, they've waited 5 years, but now they care about injury stuff.
They're fucking lying in the sand. Their line in the sand is Malcolm Brogdon. We'll rest Kawhi fucking a full week and a half while he's healthy. Yeah. But God forbid Malcolm Brogdon comes in with a torn tendon in his arm. Unbelievable.
Also would love, I would take Malcolm Brogdon's one arm over Marcus Morris. You know, like that was the deal. I love it. I love that they're like, Kawhi, dude, here's $250 million. You play 9 games a year. Who cares? Paul George, work on your podcast. Who cares? Malcolm Brogdon? Oh, we got injury concerns here.
God forbid we get a fucking competent point guard in Los Angeles for either team for that matter.
But to your point, do you think, I'm curious about the Brogdon stuff. Like, does the Clippers saying no, do you think that just pretty much secures Brogdon's with the Celtics next year? Like,
I mean, it tanked his market, obviously.
Say that again?
To an extent. I think it tanked his market.
Yeah.
I like, and look, he signed at a reasonable number. I think the thing that people haven't considered, if you're more of a casual NBA fan, is how much this new CBA really impacts decision making. The Celtics desperately didn't want to be above the second apron, and they're inching closer to it. Technically, with this trade, they're actually closer to the second apron than they would be in the Brogdon deal, but the CBA matters here. And, the Celtics are about to commit, roughly $600 million to 2 guys. So this is a bit of an all-in move. I want to see the other moves they make.
Right, because the second apron doesn't kick in for not next season or the season. It's like in 2 seasons, right? So they still have the ability to fire up, like the mid-level exception will still be available to them. And I mean, again, like not to overlook and I'm sorry, I'm like too all in on this trade.
Mini mid-level. They can get up to $5 million.
$5 million. And then you're also going to have these 2 first-round picks that I like. There's rumors that they're trying to move up right now in the draft tonight. So I don't know. Maybe they package those things to move up. Maybe Malcolm Brogdon is included with some of these picks in the way that they move up. I don't know. I still they're clearly not done. And you already mentioned Grant Williams. They were talking about a sign and trade with Dallas yesterday. That was floating around. So they're clearly not done. So I guess I don't know. I'm hopeful that they can find another backcourt member to throw up, because like Peyton Pritchard's not the answer. I don't think. I don't think Peyton's the guy. I don't know, but I can't even think of anybody else that's like been dangled out in the market as a guard.
I haven't even purely to the audience. I haven't even deep dived on like specific shooting guards or point guards the Celtics could get. I stayed up late listening to a lot of pods last night. I'm still like emotionally shocked and a little wrecked as a Celtics fan. But to your point, Mike, what I will say is there we should be thanking Brad because every move that Brad has made by and large has been a home run across the board. Like, if you objectively take your heart out of this, every single move he's made outside of Mike Muscala has been a home run. Derek White, home run.
Yep.
Malcolm Brogdon turned Neesmith and a first and Daniel Tice into Brogdon, 6th man of the year. Turned Marcus Smart into 2 first-round picks and Kristaps Porzingis. Like,
one more time,
he's remaking the roster.
Also, I see Boston-based Bruce Brown. You said Bruce Brown hints at Celtics? Did you really see that? Or are you just saying that?
He's just saying that.
So do you think the Grizzlies were just so dead set on do you think they were enamored by the fact that they could get Marcus Smart and that's how the 2 first got included in that? I didn't think they had that kind of leverage. The Celtics had that kind of leverage in this deal. So I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised that the 2 firsts were included.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. None of it makes sense. I'm shocked they didn't go to Washington for KP.
Right?
I love Smart as a player. I don't think he's worth 2 firsts. Now, mind you, they're both late first-round picks, but I don't think Marcus Smart is worth 2 first-round picks. Look at guys who've gone for multiple first-round picks. Does Marcus Smart even belong on the same planet?
Marcus Smart had more trade value than Bradley Beal.
He
had more trade value than Bradley Beal. Hold on. To Boston Base's point here. This is Bruce Brown's Instagram. Actually, hold on. There we go. It says Boston, Massachusetts. Oh, wait. Whatever. His eyes, he just tagged the location. Boston, Massachusetts. Bruce Brown.
He's from Dorchester.
I'm coming home. Yes. Bring him back. That would be fun. He said Bruce Brown's getting paid, so not going to the Celtics. I still think, I said this yesterday, I think during the 89 Cavs show, which if you guys missed the 89 Cavs, we had a lot of fun. Go check that out last night.
And his mic goes out. That's fun. Bruce Brown will be getting somewhere around Grant Williams' money, so probably, I'd say $15 million a year. I don't think that's that far off. You back?
Corey's been saying this in the chat a bunch of times. Yeah, he definitely does get injured too much. But again, recency bias. He played 65 games last year. So
basically the same amount as Brogdon, right?
Yeah, same. Yeah, exactly. I don't think Dame is going to Miami. I don't. I mean, unless he forces out. But they seem to have been. They seem to be. I don't know. Do you think Dame gets moved?
No, not before the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, unless a surprise team comes out of the wilderness and makes a big move, I think it's really unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's happening either. I think it's just going to be the boy who cried trade for the next 5 years. Every single year it's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. So do you think the Celtics try to move up tonight? Do you think that is what their next move is, or you just kind of will just wait and see?
Brad's been aggressive when he sees someone that he likes. We know that is his history. When he sets his eyes on a target and he's like, okay, this is what I think this team needs, he does it. And he has shown the ability to adjust as he did with the Smart deal. So I don't know is the short answer. I know that's not a great podcast answer, but that's the reality is maybe they move up. Maybe they trade the 2 first-round picks to move into the top 10. The top 10 has been pretty fungible as far as guys moving up and moving down. I saw our guy Jake Fisher on Light Years Pod last night, and he had a great quote. He said, "This year's draft, more than any other draft, is more like an NFL draft than it is like a traditional NBA draft, meaning teams that are moving up, teams that are moving down, teams have very, very specific needs, are moving up to try to fill those." So, yeah, I do generally agree with that. I think the Celtics – here's the thing. Do you think they move up in the draft to take a point guard?
Yeah, that's what that either that or if there was a big they liked. I think if they saw like a stretch 5 or a 4-5 that they liked, I could see them trying to bolster that up a little bit. Um DC one says nobody's giving them a top 10 pick for 2 terribly low picks. I don't think it's going well. One, the second pick is the Warriors pick, right?
Yeah, that
I don't.
Warriors pick is actually going to be somewhat valuable. Somewhat.
Yeah.
It's
So one
top
of
4
them is the
protected in 2024.
yeah. I also think I don't think it would be just those 2 picks. I think something like if they're moving into the top 10, there some other stuff is going to be included, I think. So I don't know. Joker Rock said, I forgot Mike was going to the draft. Please boo for me every time the Grizz are mentioned. So I know Joker Rock is our resident Grizzlies fan, boots on the ground guy. I actually don't think this is so bad. I think the 2 first rounds are stupid. I don't understand that. But just like looking at roster construction, I think Marcus holds you over a little bit without Ja Morant. And then I think he fits alongside nicely to Ja. I mean, I guess like you'd probably want some more shooting out there, but having Smart out there probably allows you to play Kennard a little bit more. If is Kennard still with them, right?
Correct.
But like it gets you, I don't know, it helps a little bit more. I don't know. I kind of like the fit for Marcus there.
I like the fit for he's like quintessential grit and grind, right? He is the
Yeah.
classic Memphis Grizzly. I think he will earn their trust in numerous ways on and off the court, between like just his hustle, the way he's going to like fire that team up, be a veteran leader. He's gonna have like he'll take 3 charges in that first game, and the Grizz fans gonna be all over him. And then he'll take 5 really bad shots. But I think Grizzlies fans will love him.
Yeah.
I just think it's difficult given they're giving up some of their stash for first round picks, which
I don't
Grizzlies
understand
fans
that.
had thought they were going to give up to like get a great wing. Instead, you're getting Marcus Smart, who's a really good player.
Yeah.
But he's not necessarily worth first round picks. And to Borland's point, Clark's going to miss part of the year as well.
Yeah, he probably won't be back till around Christmas. I think him and Ja will be, maybe even a little bit longer. Yeah, I know Joker Rock was saying that team chemistry is what I'm worried about. Well, let me tell you this, Joker Rock. It's not I don't think it's getting worse. Actually, that's not fair. You guys have good team chemistry. You just have just not. Yeah, it's just get some other stuff.
You guys don't have an adult in the room. You're a bunch of fucking teenagers partying, Yeah. I'm not even going to go there. I was going to make a gun joke, but you know what?
You know who's happy right now is the NBA Top Shot curation team, right? They love giving Marcus Smart hustle and show moments, but now they're going to do like a super combined fresh thread hustle and show where you got Marcus Smart diving around in a Grizzlies jersey. They're going to be losing their mind with that.
It's true. The team over there, Brandon, I'm blanking on our guy's name. Austin, yeah. That kind of morning. Haven't had coffee yet. They're gonna have a great time. Hustle and show, fresh threads. What else can we throw a Marcus in that he's been in all year?
Every season. Just give him a hollow. He's probably the 3rd best player on the team now.
NBA Top Shot 50 him.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's gonna be top 50. Anything else that you're like looking forward to, or like next big dominoes to drop, whether it's Celtics related or just like big picture? Anything that you're like, this will start moving the needles for other teams?
Short term, I think if we look broadly at the draft tonight, this is all going to start after 3. Thompson twins are thought to go kind of in that top 5 to 7 range.
It sounds like they might even go 4-5. Like it sounds like Houston was interested and Detroit was interested. So if that's the case, you could just be looking at. It sounds like Scoot's going 3rd, which I think is fucking nuts. But it sounds like it's going to go Wemby, Miller, Scoot, and then the Thompson Bros 4-5.
Did you see the Brandon Payne, Steph Curry's trainer's quote about Scoot and Steph Curry?
Just that they were boys, but I didn't see anything else.
Apparently, Scoot walked into the gym with Steph. Steph hadn't trained in a while, and basically he made like 63s in a row.
Wow.
And Scoot's eyes just like lit up, and immediately Scoot was just like, I just want to get to work.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Boss, shout out Boston Base, the last 2 defensive players of the year on the same team. That's right.
Yeah. So look, I think Thompson twins in that top 5. There'll be a whole range of teams looking to get in the back end of the top 10. There's been a lot of rumors about what, teams around 9 through 11 are looking to do in this draft. So, there's going to be movement. The question is, does Indiana look to make a move? Danny Ainge is always looking to flip picks. Do the Mavs look to do a sign and trade with Grant Williams?
To bring up
our
our good friend Dustin, let's talk Lakers here for a second, because I know they've been rumored with their, what do they have, the 17th pick, Mo Bamba and Malik Beasley, about packaging that together, and maybe sneaking out a Miles Turner out of it, which I thought was kind of interesting. Also, shout out Miles Turner, who's just trying to pick up the mantle for John Collins of just being talked about being traded just 24/7. But if the Lakers can somehow secure Miles Turner, again, somebody who can let AD play the four so he doesn't bitch about it, but also stretch the floor a little bit, I think that is like a great fit. And you're not using Beasley or Bamba anyways. Like I like that quite a bit.
And Turner's contract's great.
Yeah.
I think it's like $20 million a year, basically. He'd fit very nicely into what the Lakers actually do, both offensively and defensively. There's some fun scheme stuff they can do. When AD's off the floor, I just like it. I like the fit if they can pull it off.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're going to be active tonight. I'm excited to see it. I'm hoping we get some chaos. Like, I mean, I really am. I want to be live for chaos, just because I think, the draft is more about just seeing who's wearing what, I feel like, in a lot of these times. But if there was ever a year where you start seeing some picks getting moved around, especially like late lottery, like 10 through 14, I feel like we could get some fireworks. What about the Pelicans? Where I know they've been like rumored. Steve had a take last night that I really liked that I hadn't really thought about. I'm sure other people had it too. But again, from the 89 Cavs, Steve said he thinks that the Pelicans are just trying to scare the shit out of Zion. Like that he's not really on the trading block, that he was just like, hey, just get your shit together. We're not afraid to move you. I don't know. What do you think the Pels are doing here?
That's a confusing team, both on the management side, because they have ownership that's, their primary focus is on the Saints. It's not really on the Pels. And word has been that there have been some money issues over there. Look, if they trade him, it's going to have to be a monster deal.
Yeah.
Like, the Pelicans are going to have to win that deal if you're the Pels. I don't know whether it's moving up in the draft or whether you're getting a superstar player, but you're going to have to do something here.
Yeah.
They're a team that's stuck in the mud, and like, roster-wise, what do you do long-term? Like, do you trade Ingram and Zion? Do you blow this thing up? I don't know what their team identity is.
Yeah,
that's my issue with them.
I keep going back to, listen, I want them to trade Zion just because that's fun. I'm here for fun and I like it. But I mean, if you want to go glass half full and you're like, hey, Zion's going to be healthy this year and play a full season. If they were second in the West, like for a while, they were really good. And you look at all those pieces of Zion, Ingram. If CJ's like your third or fourth guy, that's fine. JV, Trey Murphy looked awesome this year. You get Herb Jones, who now doesn't start. Like, if you could have Jones coming off the bench, they have a lot of different pieces that make sense. And you could even package some of those to get one other good player right now to make your team even more formidable. And I keep talking about the West, man. The West is just so wide open outside of Denver. I think Denver's your clear one. Phoenix, let's give Phoenix the benefit of the doubt and say that they can like round out their roster. To me, they're the clear two. But after that, I mean, you could tell me the Kings get better, the Kings get worse, Kings stay the same, right? Grizzlies, they've got a bunch of who knows. OKC is a young team that looks like they were taking a step. You got Minnesota, who maybe are they healthy now? The Lakers, the Clippers. Like, to me, that's a whole muddled mess. And you could tell me Pelicans finish second or third in the West or 12th in the West. And I think I'd buy either of those,
And you have some wild cards in there, guys or teams that want to spend money. We know Houston wants to spend a ton of money this offseason. They didn't sign Ime Udoka to sit 13th in the West.
I'm nervous for Houston. I'm nervous because I like if you're not getting Harden or if you're not getting like a real vet, and now it even sounds like Freddie might go back to Toronto. I'm not saying he's the answer, but are they about to pay like 35 million a year to somebody who is going to help them get to 28 wins instead of 22 wins? And then it's like, okay, not only are we still not getting our first round pick, now we're paying somebody way too much money.
The other big question mark to me is what do the Warriors do?
Yeah.
Like there are here in the Bay Area, I know a lot of Warrior fans were a little annoyed they weren't able to get a guy like Porzingis. Do they trade Poole? Going back to Jake Fisher last night on Light Years, he said hadn't heard anything about the Warriors trying to trade Poole. Had heard a little bit about Kuminga. So the Warriors might look to move into the top 10 with Kuminga, maybe.
Are they like? Because I know you listened to them last night, and shout out the Light Years pod. If you are a Warriors fan, go check them out. What has their take been around Draymond? So Draymond opted out. I think it was like widely believed that he was just going. They were going to find a new deal and he'd come back. But I know like some of the more national media podcasts were kind of saying, "Hey, maybe he's going to go somewhere else now." What was their take? Yeah, he's staying.
I mean, generally he's going to sign. It's just a matter of what the number is. I think that's the question. The question is 3 years, is it 70 million, 75 million? Is it 90 million? The rumor has been that he wants 90. And you have a new GM in Mike Dunleavy Jr. And you have an owner who is actually pretty close to Dre. Dre apparently has helped them in drafts before. So, what I would say is I would bet they sign him. I don't know how you can keep Poole and Draymond on the same team. I think you have to trade Poole.
Well,
like what do? You can't bring those two back.
Well, not only that, but I mean, like we saw. I don't know, unless you just think this past season was a fluke. Like they clearly are a cut below some of these other teams, and so they have to do something. Whether it's like maybe Poole and Draymond can figure it out, but. Because it does feel like you'd be trading like the absolute bottom of Jordan Poole's value. But like the Kuminga thing makes I'm moving off one of those rookies and trying to get another piece in there that like makes them
Kuminga is in his third year. Fourth year options picked up. So he's going to want to get paid.
Yeah.
And with where their CBA is right now, they can't afford to pay him. Or sorry, their cap.
Oh, I was going to say, what about like Kuminga going to Detroit? I haven't heard this, and I also haven't looked it up, so I don't know if it would work. So I don't know what other pieces have to be included, but basically getting Bojan back
wouldn't work off the top of my head. I don't have Spotrac in front of me, but I think Bojan makes
he makes 20 a year.
I want to say. And
Poole for Bojan, like straight 10. Up. Poole for Bojan.
I mean, I can look it up right now while we're here. Let's see.
I'm just thinking that somebody like that makes a ton of sense for them. Where it's not you're not going to be able to pay a superstar or anything like that. I see Heath Johnson too saying, "What are the Bulls doing with DeRozan?" I feel like both DeRozan and Levine are going to be on different teams soon. Although Pat Bev tweeted out,
he's at 20, by the way.
20, yeah.
And his second year is partially guaranteed at 19 million. So it's actually not a bad contract because you could get off the 17 million and maybe stay under the second apron.
Dude, okay. I know I was just spitballing here, but like that's what Jordan Poole makes, right?
Poole makes like 20. Oh, between Kuminga and Poole makes 27 and a half.
Dude, I Poole for Bojan.
You'd have to include some filler, but yeah, you could do that. And he's muted. It's fine. I can vamp for a couple minutes. Chat, not a big deal. I like the test that says better sources, Mike or Jack Settlement. I mean, Jack's been out in these streets, man.
Hey, Wemby won. However, the second he said that Dame officially requested a trade, Portland came out and said they weren't trading him. So I don't know.
I love Jack, but man, he just gets a little crazy.
He's wilding. But to put a bow on that, the Boyan thing, I mean, that piece makes the most sense for Golden State. And Detroit buying on Jordan Poole makes sense too. Like a young dude, just go. I mean, I know he's got his issues, and I don't know. I kind of like. I don't know. I gotta ask.
I like
Jake
the idea
that.
of him and Cade, and then you
Yeah,
reunite him with Wiseman. You know,
yeah.
get that
He's got
Wiseman
that
Poole pick
Michigan
and roll.
pedigree.
Yeah.
I forgot James Wiseman. Oh man, I love it. All right, let's hit a couple more teams. Forchi, our man Kevin Forch in the chat this morning. Good to see Forchi, man. So he's already, woke up this morning. It's that morning male energy. Woke up with it and is going to just keep it throughout the rest of the day as they are drafting Wemby first overall. What do you think the Spurs should do with Wemby though? Not with him, like surrounding him. So we know they've already said they're not moving off of Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. So that's like your three core pieces. They've got the poor man's Tyus Jones and his brother Trey. And then I don't know, like, are they going to go spend some money this offseason, you think?
I don't think so. I think you try to stay as kind of bad as possible. They got some good young pieces. You add in the draft, and you just kind of go from there. I mean, you look over that roster. I just pulled it up off Spotrac. They're in a decent spot cap wise. You still got Zach Collins, Vassell. I think Jeremy Sochan takes a bit of a hit this year, unfortunately. Yeah. Like I love him, but I think with the Wemby minutes, it's just gonna be difficult to get him on the floor in a way that makes sense. Malachi Branham got some run for them last year. We'll see. I could see them maybe going for like if they went all in, what would be their all-in move? Like free agency.
Give Draymond 110 a year. I mean, 110 for 3 years. I like that. I like Draymond in there. I think he makes sense next to Wemby. I like that. I think he could also run point for them at times, right? I love it. I love it so much. They're not going to do it though. But or like Chris Paul, I think would be fun with them too. But CP3 is not going to agree to that. He's going to the Lakers most likely, or the Clippers.
I mean, by the way, CP3 has been on a run. He was really great on Russillo. If you're going to listen to any of his media stuff, go listen to him on Russillo. He was great.
That was great. I know. I think people interpreted my tweet yesterday that I was taking a shot at CP3 because I said this in them yesterday morning that so many more people are finding out about 61 because of the Chris Paul trade. And everyone was like, no, people remember. And I was just like, no, I mean, everyone is listening to these podcasts because he just got traded. Like if you were a fringe CP3 fan, you're like, wait, hold on. What? That's what I meant by that. I think everybody was like, no, dude, everybody I was like, I know it's a press tour because his book's coming out.
Right.
But I agree.
And it wasn't and it's not like the book tour wasn't happening anyway. The only difference is interest is higher because he's in the news, guys.
Right.
Like this shit isn't that fucking hard.
That's what I meant.
If anything, it's fucking better for his book sales.
Yo, I don't think I would have bought it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm absolutely gonna buy it.
It sounds awesome.
Kevin saying if Draymond ends up in San Antonio, RIP to Big Bodies Ja. I know.
What I will say as far as like an all-in move, what do you think about like doing like a sign and trade for Fred VanVleet?
Hell yeah, I love it. I love it because I think
does that move things for you?
Well, yeah, because dude, so you're talking Spurs, right?
Yeah, circling back to Spurs.
Yeah, I like it because listen, I think Wemby's that good. I think the Spurs can be like a not a championship contending, but like can be a real playoff team in the next 3 years. So get Freddie in there now, make them a little bit better, and then Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell are good pieces on a team. They just can't be like your best guy. Like Keldon Johnson played in the Olympic team. Keldon is good. And if you all of a sudden have a real guard scoring threat paired up with Wemby, you probably need another, like a bigger four. Like Grant Williams probably makes sense over there too. I feel like he could be kind of interesting. But yeah, I like
Grant's value is.
I just assumed it's still going to be in that like 18 to 20 a year thing.
I think he gets something closer to what the Celtics offered before the season. I think he gets like 15 mil.
15. Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Shiggins is right. That's because Pop picked the roster. That's not that far off.
That's true. Whatever, guy. I like Keldon. Yeah, I'm not going to take Keldon big body slander in here. I like big body. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. I hope they're fun right away. Like, I would love for them not to just be a league pass team because just because Wemby's on it. Like, I'd like them to be fun. Also, all this Grant Williams slander. Hey, maybe you're right. None of us know. He didn't play this year. None of us know. Maybe he's not asked. We don't know because he didn't play. And your argument could be, well, we know he's asked because he didn't play. Well, my counter is Joe Mazzulla. So, and the entire Celtics organization was like, hey, you need to play Grant. Like, they went out of their way to be like, Joe, you got to play Grant. So I don't know. I feel like I want one more year to see if Grant is ass or not. Also, he follows me on Twitter, so I'm not going to.
Grant is a good, not great player. Like, yeah. I'm not saying pay the guy max money. Right. But in the $15 to $20 million range, he's a guy that can guard big bodies. Like, he's been great against Giannis, for example. He can make threes. Yeah, he's not great off the bounce. Okay.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he is worse than Jaylen Brown at dribbling. I will say that. Going to his right or left. All right.
Yeah, he's got no hands.
Doesn't matter. Either direction. Not great. But he is very particular in his needs.
Yeah. He's not low NBA IQ.
He's not low. He's actually high IQ. Grant's smart.
It's right. The two things that everybody's mad at Grant for is him saying, I'm going to make both. That and then just getting in front of Jimmy's face. And whatever, dude. Who cares? All right. I wanted to speaking of Grant getting in Jimmy's face. Let's talk about one more team and then get out of here. So they got all the Dame rumors to Miami, which I don't think are real. And then Pat Riley was like, we're good, dude. Like, we're good to run it back. We just went to the finals. We didn't have Tyler Hero. What do you think? Do you think Miami just kind of like massages around the peripherals, right? They lose Gabe Vincent, most likely. They go find somebody else to fill in. Like, what do you think? What do you think about Miami's situation?
Miami's interesting, man. Heat culture is a real thing, obviously, based on final. Stan's gonna fucking love that. I just, you could say that they don't have a whole lot of avenues to get better, but like the other thing with them is they just find ways. They find dudes. Like, they're gonna find someone undrafted in this draft, and they're gonna score like 15 a game against the Celtics in the playoffs this year. Like, guarantee it. But to provide like real hardline analysis, I don't know like what kind of free agency moves they can make because of how hard they are against the cap. Naj Reid in Miami, Naj Reid is gonna make a lot of money in free agency.
Yeah,
like I was mentioning, Grant's gonna get 15 million. Naj Reid's probably gonna get 20. Someone's gonna sign him to a big deal. Like, imagine him on the Spurs. Actually, that would be fun.
Yeah, he'd be great.
I defer to someone like Stan as far as that actual roster. God forbid we're actually referring to the number one Heat fan in the chat.
Dude, Stan said, Stan in the chat right now for the podcast people, it said Riley did an awful job last year despite the results. He needs to wake up off the rocking chair. I like that Stan. What I appreciate about Stan, he doesn't hate certain people. He hates everyone. And I appreciate that.
Oh, Hoop Junkie in the chat going spicy. Ooh. Draft prediction. Hornets will pick Scoot and Brandon Miller will fall to 4 or 5.
Brandon Miller should go 12 after saying Paul George is the GOAT. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And listen, that's like some real contrarian, libertarian bullshit, right? That's some like I'm out on this. LeBron shut to go. Paul George is my GOAT. Dude, shut up. There's no. He should go out of the lottery. 15.
He should be drafted 15. What's funny is I think he thought he was like answering the question about who his favorite player is. Like, I think he mixed the two up. Because there's no way he actually thinks that Paul George is his actual GOAT. I've seen the full clip, and he does say twice that he says he's his GOAT, but there's no way. There's no fucking way you actually believe that, Brandon Miller.
No, he knows. He knows what he was saying.
Maybe he just thought, you said this last night on 89 Cavs. Maybe he just thought he could be a meme and just do it that way.
Yeah.
Just put out as much content as you can. Try to make people forget about the fact that you were involved in a murder last year. and say something quirky and go from there. Because, by the way, I'm not even
when
going
you
to go there.
When Winston says when you say my GOAT, it kind of implies it's just your favorite player. No. GOAT stands for greatest of all time. It doesn't say for my favorite player. That's
Those are two different things.
I refuse to get on board. I refuse to get on board with this. Also,
it's a wild take.
Borland, I don't know a lot about Chris Murray. I love Cam Whitmore, though. I love the Cam Whitmore.
Cam Whitmore's great. And Chris Murray's going to be late in this draft. Yeah. I've seen him mocked anywhere between like 19 and 25. And the Warriors are sitting there like, we would have enjoyed Keegan Murray on the series team. Why don't we just take the guy who's like, 10 to 15% lower than what his brother is,
I love it. More brothers in the NBA. I'm here for it.
That's fair. I'm an Alabama guy.
Yeah, respect, Winston. Weisberg, let's call it there. Dude, I appreciate you. Oh, yeah, I got to remind, we're giving something away. Like the stream, subscribe, #SMART into the chat. But appreciate you getting up early and doing this morning, man.
Yeah, no worries. Also, go watch us on playback tonight. Come hang out with us in Vegas in a couple weeks so you get to see this body in real life, baby, There you go. We're going to have a great time at the live show. But yeah. Got nothing else to plug. Go follow me on Twitter at Mike Weisberg. Go watch Playback tonight. Playback.tv/Team Hold.
You can find a link in the show notes. Weisberg and Pack Trip are going to be on there live tonight. Weisberg also mentioned Vegas, baby. So we are going to be out in Vegas July 5th or 6th through the 9th. We are going to be staying over at the Park MGM. We're going to Summer League. We're going to the NBA convention. We have a live show at the Sandala Lounge. I'm dropping a link into the chat right now. If you are going to Vegas, fill out that link. We've got over 40 plus people coming out to the live show. I think that number is going to go up, but go check that out if you are if you're in town. We'd love to have you. We've got a happy hour happening that may or may not get you a couple of free drinks as well. We're gonna be having a good time. Really looking forward to it. So let's spin this giveaway here. If you win, shoot me a DM in the chat. Dustin's in the chat. Dustin, don't you worry, baby. I talked some Lakers today.
We did. It's true.
We're glad you're here, dude. We miss you. The Common Man. Shout out the Common Man. I hope you do something fun with the Mavericks 10th pick tonight. But again, check out Playback tonight with Weisberg and Cam. Make sure you tune in to some of the fun content we're going to have tonight live from the NBA draft. Otherwise, we will see you all tomorrow morning. And breaking, Windhorse was just on ESPN saying teams are preparing to send offers for Dame. So the Dame conversation never ends. Kill me. Thanks for being here, everybody, this morning. Thanks, Weisberg. We are out.